Hey everyone, and a massive welcome to this explainer. I am literally so excited you're here right now because today, well, we're going to start building some serious foundational data skills. We're looking at a piece of software that honestly essentially runs the modern professional world. And by the end of this journey together, you are going to feel absolutely empowered to use it. Let me just ask you a quick question right off the bat. Do you want to learn a truly crucial, highly sought after skill for office work, banking, finance, data analysis, or really any kind of reporting? Well, if you're nodding yes, you are in the exact right place. Getting comfortable with this tool is, without a doubt, one of the highest impact investments you can make in your professional toolkit. So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with a welcome to Microsoft Excel, cover exactly what it is, take a tour of the interface and ribbon, break down workbooks and worksheets, look at rows, columns, and cells, and finally, we'll wrap up with your very first data entry. Nice and simple. Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to Microsoft Excel. Section 2, what is Excel, really? Before we actually click open the application, let's just take a quick 10,000-foot view. At its core, Excel is an incredibly powerful spreadsheet software. But what makes it so indispensable is just the sheer versatility of the whole shebang. I mean, you can securely store massive amounts of data. You can perform really complex calculations in literally milliseconds. You can analyze raw info to spot trends, build stunning visual reports and dashboards, and, my personal favorite, automate all those boring, repetitive tasks that just eat up your day. Because it does all of this so seamlessly, it's become this universal language. We're talking offices, banks, businesses, and schools all over the globe. All right, moving on to Section 3, the interface and ribbon. The very first thing you need to get familiar with is what we call the ribbon. You can think of the ribbon as your ultimate primary tool belt. It's that top menu area stretching across the screen that holds all your tools and commands. Now, instead of just throwing everything at you all at once, which would be overwhelming, right? Excel neatly organizes these tools into different tabs. So your Home tab is your go-to for formatting and editing text. Want to drop in tables, charts, or maybe some pictures? You'll hit the Insert tab. When it's time to crunch some numbers, you jump over to the Formula tab. And for sorting or filtering those massive lists, the Data tab is going to be your absolute best friend. Next up, Section 4, let's zoom in a bit and talk about workbooks and worksheets. So it's absolutely crucial to understand the difference between a workbook and a worksheet. Let's start with a workbook. Basically, a workbook is the complete Excel file you're currently working on. You know, when you click Save and name your file on your computer, something like, say, monthly_report.xlsx, well, you were saving a workbook. It's the entire complete package. But inside that workbook, you have worksheets, and this brilliantly illustrates how the whole system is built. Just think of your workbook as a physical, heavy-duty binder or notebook, and your worksheets are the individual pages tucked away inside of it. You can have multiple sheets, multiple pages, all living neatly inside that single file. All right, Section 5, let's drill down even further into rows, columns, and cells. The entire grid you see is made up of rows and columns. Notice how the rows are the horizontal lines running left to right across your screen, and they are always numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, all the way down. Columns, on the flip side, are the vertical lines running up and down. Those are always named with letters, A, B, C, D, right across the top. So, numbers go down, letters go across. Take a second and just lock that in. And that right there brings us to the most fundamental unit of Excel, the cell. A cell is simply that little rectangular box where a row and a column intersect. This is the exact precise spot where we enter our data. And what's really fantastic about this is that every single cell has its own unique name, which is just a combination of its column letter and its row number. So the very first cell up in the top left corner, it's in column A and row 1, making its name A1. If you scoot over to column B and drop down to row 5, boom, you're in cell B5. Honestly, it's exactly like playing a giant game of Battleship. Okay, Section 6, your first data entry. Let's actually bring all this theory to life. I highly, highly encourage you to try this right along with me. Step 1, let's open up a fresh blank Excel workbook. Step 2, we're going to set up our column headers right there in the very first row. And step 3, we'll type in a few sample records underneath them, just so you can see firsthand exactly how information gets structured and stored in this grid. So if you're following along, click into cell A1 and type the word name. Then hit your right arrow key to move over to cell B1 and type department. Move right one more time into cell C1 and type salary. Okay, now drop down to row 2 and start typing a few sample records directly underneath those new headers. Go ahead and put your own name, your absolute favorite department, and hey, throw in a dream salary while you're at it. Doing this perfectly demonstrates how Excel takes raw info and organizes it into these clean, easily readable formats. You've done a phenomenal job today. Let's do a really quick recap of the building blocks we just covered. We learned exactly what Excel is and why it's such a powerhouse. We cleared up the difference between your main workbook file and the individual worksheet pages inside it. We took a nice little tour of the ribbon and the interface, and we completely mastered the grid system of rows, columns, and cells. Finally, we tackled some basic navigation by getting our hands dirty with our very first data entry. And honestly, this is just the beginning. In our next explainer, we're going to dive deep into advanced data entry and formatting techniques. But hey, before you go, I've got a quick challenge for you. Your practice task today is to open Excel on your own and physically locate these specific items: the ribbon, the workbook, the worksheet, row 10, column D, and finally, cell B3. Because once you can intuitively navigate this grid, you basically hold the keys to manipulating millions of data points in mere seconds. So what will you build with that kind of power? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.